Like
the individual.
suddenly I had like a big lump in my throat. This is how it gets you. There's the weird thing that happens when it's being built, and when you first show up on it, you're kind of overwhelmed by it all, and then you get into the nitty-gritty of working on it.
Ready, and action!
And naturally, that level of it goes away, and you find yourself just focused on making the scene work, getting the shots, and then once in a while you're taking a little break and sitting back and you look around, you get the holy crap moment again. Concentrated work split up by holy craps.
The individual stories of these.
It's like a real journey.
Walking up the ramp, walking through the hallway. I flash back to when I was a kid with the action figures inside. Suddenly I had like a big lump in my throat. This is how it gets you.
Camera set, here we go, stand by.
And action!
Rian is doing many unexpected things and taking characters in new directions.
The individual stories of these characters are elevated and made fresh and new.
That's what I love about Rian's approach to the story. It's like a real journey of discovery.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 8. First time shooting with Mark, first time shooting with Daisy. First time shooting a Star Wars movie, and we got some cool stuff. Sad like a dog whimper.
Yeah, that is great.
Ryan's wonderful personality is all over this film.
Wow. There's too many of everybody. I misjudged this.
He has flaws in other areas. I just don't know about them.
There's the weird thing that happens when it's being built, and when you first show up on it, you're kind of overwhelmed by it all, and then you get into the nitty-gritty of working on it.
Ready, and action!
And naturally, that level of it goes away, and you find yourself just focused on making the scene work, getting the shots, and then once in a while you're taking a little break and sitting back and you look around, you get the holy crap moment again. Concentrated work split up by holy craps.
Got it.
Got that.
Beautiful, Gwen. Very nice. Got it.
Hey. Smile.
Brian told me just before we started he has a tradition of taking photos of everyone who interviews him, and I was not camera ready for this today. Welcome, Ryan. Thank you for being here, director of Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, so cool. Here at Instagram headquarters. Ryan's, of course, an avid Instagrammer himself. His account, Ryan C. Johnson. You can see awesome behind-the-scenes stuff from the film, as well as just, I think, interesting stuff from his perspective. You know, we're not super greedy, but we want all the spoilers and tidbits that you have to share.
What do you want? Anything. What you got?
And of course, we're broadcasting live on Facebook. So for those of you watching on the live stream, feel free to send us your questions. We're going to take a couple questions from folks here. So let's just go ahead and get started. Now, you and everyone have been pretty quiet on details of the plot of the film, which has put fan anticipation through the roof. But you've said a bunch of times, and I think we saw a little in the featurette, that you wanted to explore the characters and what happens to them through their personal journeys, rather than like what sort of fills in the gaps left by The Force Awakens. Can you give us an example or two of the kinds of things, those journeys that drove you with these characters?
Yeah, I mean, when I first, I was basically hired to do this when they were just starting to shoot The Force Awakens. So I read the script before I saw any of the footage from The Force Awakens, and the first thing that grabbed me were the characters. And then when I started seeing the dailies of what JJ was shooting with all the actors, those characters came to life. And so that was really the first thing that hooked me in, were these characters. And they're amazing, they were given such incredible introductions in The Force Awakens, as brought to life by these actors. And so I started the writing process, not by writing down like set pieces or Falcon space battle or stuff I wanted to see. I started just writing down all the names of the characters, and I thought, this is kind of the middle chapter, so our job here is to take each of them, kind of put them through the grinder and really see what makes them tick. So you get to the end of the movie, you know more about them, and you're emotionally invested in them, so you're really going to care about where they end up at the end of all this.
Yeah. Speaking of set pieces.
Do you see how that was such a general thing? I said nothing.
Yeah, totally.
Don't worry. Ratio of words to actual content.
I have a solid like 15 or 1600 follow-ups.
Oh, pro. That's all right. Bring it.
I think I feel like one thing you might be more willing to talk about. I think one of the things people noticed with Force Awakens was the use of the realism, the props, the sets, the locations, even the action sequences, a lot of realistic stuff going on. Did you keep that in this film, and was that exciting?
Yeah, that was something that that JJ started with, or really leaned into with Force Awakens, and we really continued it. In terms of the practical sets, we built, my producer, Ram, can shout out, how many sets did we build? It was like 125 sets. We had like a 110-day shooting schedule, so it was absurd the amount of sets, practical sets we built. Like every day we are on a different amazing set. And then add on to that Neil Scanlon, who was our creature supervisor and also did The Force Awakens. We did an insane amount of practical creatures and creature makeup, and Neil claimed that there were more creatures in this movie than in The Force Awakens and Rogue One put together. It's a huge practical creature film. But then, of course, I always, though, especially after having gone through this process, I think maybe before I made this movie, I was a little more, apt to jump on the train of practical good, digital bad. But after working with ILM and the incredible artists there, and seeing how it's a collaboration between the real stuff you shoot and the effects work afterwards, and thinking about how, the effects back in the day with the original Star Wars were very practical and grounded, but that's not because they were pushing the envelope of what was possible at that time. And the fact that the ILM artists today are doing that same thing, and it all adds up to what's up on the screen. So, anyway.
That's great.
Yeah.
Similar to that conversation, I think, you're building a lot of things as a director. You're building, certainly with your production team, you're building sets and props, and you're also building storylines. You're building a visual art piece. Did you feel you had to adjust your visual style at all to fit what had come before, either in not just The Force Awakens, but some of the other films as well?
That's a really good question. So my cinematographer, Steve Yedlin, I met him in the dorms in college. We've been best friends since he was actually still in high school. We met on a student film set. And so we've been friends for a long time, working together for a while. And coming into this, we rewatched Empire just for visual cues, for lighting, just because I still think it's the most beautiful of all the Star Wars movies. But then we kind of had to make a decision, or at least I did early on, at least in terms of how the camera moved and the camera angles, that I kind of decided, okay, I can't constantly be thinking of how do we imitate the style of either the original trilogy or The Force Awakens. I've got to, the same way that in telling the story and coming up with it and writing it, I had to personally engage with it. That's the only way I couldn't feel like I was just doing what someone else would do. We had to do that with the visual style too. So So we took some lighting cues and some visual cues from Empire. Obviously, design-wise, there's a language that goes through all of these movies. But in terms of the camera, we really had to just get in there and do what felt right. Do what turned us on. Like that's what you always have to do in each shot, I think. So that's what we tried to do with this. Yeah.
Because we're here, let's talk a little bit about your Instagram account. First of all, you get another free plug, even though you gave us no spoilers. Rian C. Johnson,
nothing.
R-I-A-N.
I get everything.
Yeah. No. And then I'm curious, how do you choose what to share, both from like the filmmaking process, and then just as you're traveling now, you're on a press tour now, so there's a lot. I mean, there's losers like me, but everyone you meet along the way.
Well, no, it's interesting. I really get into Instagram as a kind of fairly recent thing for me. I actually started my Instagram account, I think around the time we were starting production. So I kind of learned my way forward with Instagram, posting things on set, and it wasn't like there was anyone kind of that I would run the stuff by, that I would post. I would just kind of trust my gut. And
Disney marketing earmuffs.
I know, exactly. Yeah. Luckily, no one's seeing this, right? But no, it's I don't know. It was a really fun way of just finding little random images throughout the day and sharing them without context, which I've. Before Instagram, I would do this similar kind of thing on Tumblr, and and before that though, I just had my own website, and I would post a different picture. I basically do Instagram on my own, like just HTML website that I built, where I would post a different picture, and I would just change it every few days for my friends. So it came pretty naturally, and now I'm totally into it.
Awesome.
I'm hooked.
What's a good highlight of something recent you've posted?
Well, lately I've been trying, because we've just started now doing press for the movie, and talking to an insane amount of people about it. It kind of can tend to blur together at some points. Present company excluded. I will always remember this. But I've started with this camera. It's actually why I snapped it at the beginning. Seeing if I can take a picture of literally everybody I talked to about the movie from now until the end of the press thing. So if you go back, you'll see we've done press days in Paris and in Mexico City so far, and I've got all the journalists I spoke to. And it's cool for me just being able to flip back and remember faces and remember, moments, as opposed to it just, kind of melding together in my increasingly aging brain. Yeah.
Nice. Well, we're going to go through a quick lightning round. It's mostly a this or that. Try to go as fast as you can. Don't think too much.
I never do.
First thing you check on your phone in the morning, don't say not Instagram.
It's Instagram.
What's the actual first thing you check on your phone in the morning?
I check Twitter. It's terrible. It's awful. No, actually, I check email first.
There you go.
Check email first.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Early bird or night owl?
Lately, early bird. I'm getting old, man. Getting old. Gotta get that Denny's special in the morning.
I'm a blue plater myself.
Yeah, I know.
More relaxing, countryside or the beach?
Oh, beach.
Harder job as director, starting from scratch, creating, or editing down?
Starting from scratch. So.
We won't say favorite. I think I have an idea of the answer to this. Which of the original trilogy have you watched the most?
I've probably seen A New Hope the most.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who would win in a 100-meter dash, R2 or BB-8?
BB-8. You ever tried rolling R2 on any surface? Not easy. Yeah.
What about a cuteness contest, a Porgs or an Ewok?
Porgs. Right? Can I say that?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite prop from this film, from The Last Jedi?
I do. I actually got a Porg. The Creature guys, I just got it delivered to my house. The Creature guys gave me one of the original Porgs, and they hooked it up to these wires that let me control its facial movements with these little levers. And so it's literally like you can make the eyebrows go up and down. You can make his lip quiver. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Favorite account to follow on Instagram?
Oh, boy. Most
mostly just follow my friends. It's not going to be like any famous account or something. You know what? I love my girlfriend's account, Karina Longworth.
There you go.
Yeah, she's so stylish.
What cast member takes the best selfies?
Oh, best selfies. I mean, John Boyega, it's hard to beat for
He's the king.
Selfies. He's a master.
What's a song that always puts you in a good mood?
Always puts me in a good mood. The end song from Time Bandits by George Harrison, Dream Away.
Wow,
Yeah.
deep cuts.
Hey, man. Always just... We'll play it, yeah.
What's the first thing you do in the morning?
Sadly, it's check my email. It's pathetic. It's horrible.
And
yeah.
what's the last thing you do at night?
Sadly, it's check my email.
He's working hard, everyone. He's working hard.
This is the age we live in.
So we've got a couple questions coming in from Facebook. First one up here is from Brittany Fremont. She'd like to know, when did you first become a Star Wars fan?
One of my very first movie-related... There's a lot. Yeah, I can't give you a head count. They're all over the place, man.
We're talking like hundreds, thousands?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the Porgs came originally from when we scouted that island, Skellig Michael. It's a bird sanctuary, besides being a UNESCO heritage site. And so when we scouted, it was covered in puffins. It's actually a natural part of the island. It's covered in these adorable little puffin birds waddling around, and they would try and fly and look really pathetic, and it was hilarious. And so I thought we need the Star Wars version of this, so that's the idea behind them.
That's awesome. Deborah Guzman Barrios has asked, you've been a Star Wars fan since you were 4 years old. Lucasfilm has now entrusted you with a new trilogy. What are you most excited for about the new trilogy?
I mean, right now I'm just at the beginning of figuring it out, but that's the possibility of it, just like the open sky possibility of telling a new story with the canvas of 3 movies in this world. And it's just, I'm excited about everything that's possible in that. So.
And then our last question from Facebook, Justine Toreno from the Philippines is interested to know, what influenced you to take this movie to its current direction?
I was really just trying to pick up where Force Awakens left off and figure out what's the natural line going forward from that. So, and once you start figuring that out, you start kind of finding a path, and it leads you in some surprising places. But I didn't come up with a preconceived kind of I want to get here or there. I was just literally like, okay, what do I know about these characters? What direction are they headed in? How did they get where they're at the end of Force Awakens? And now let's follow that path and kind of really see where it leads us for each of them. So I hope it's a natural line forward as opposed to, something that tries to bend them to get someplace crazy or something.
Well, we hope so too.
God, I hope so.
Well, sort of in keeping with the theme of this being Instagram, you've shared a ton of stuff from set. We actually have a few that you haven't shared yet. We hope you can walk us through. These are some photos that have never seen the light of day before, so these are, I guess, a world premiere before he posts them on Instagram.
Yeah. So here is John Boyega, the man, the myth, the legend. This is Kelly Marie Tran, who plays Rose in the movie, and she, really there's only kind of 3 major new parts in the movie. There's Laura Dern, who plays Admiral Holdo, who's a new leader in the Resistance. There's Benicio del Toro, who plays DJ, who's kind of a new scoundrel-type character. And there's Kelly, who plays Rose, who's also in the Resistance and a new kind of hero, and she's probably the biggest new part in it. And I'm so excited because, I mean, this is virtually her first movie. She really hasn't done anything. She's an incredible person. She's just got the best heart in the world, and she's so good in the movie. I feel like we have this Christmas present we're about to open for everyone, discovering Kelly and this character. She's lovely.
And where are they?
They are in a spaceship.
Good note. You know what?
In space.
In space.
Yeah.
Not on a planet.
No, they're in space.
Okay, in space.
Spoiler alert.
That'll do.
Yeah.
And then this looks like Finn and Phasma.
I guess the seam is kind of covering John's anticipatory smirk. He's about to get into this. So this is a scene. There's Gary Hims, who is our fantastic grip on the movie, who moved the camera on the dolly throughout the course of it and sang show tunes while he was doing that. He was such a lovely guy. So you got a glimpse of this in the trailer. This is Finn and Phasma come head to head, and with this scene and with other scenes in the movie that involve combat, I just can't say enough about the preparation that the actors did for these scenes. John just trained his butt off, and as a result, we were able to get these amazing physical fight scenes in the movie that we didn't have to like put the camera on a 300mm lens and shake it around and cut all the time. We could just sit back and shoot it, and it looked amazing. Yeah, so that's this.
How imposing in person is Gwendolyn Christie in the Phasma costume?
You know,
I'm already terrified looking at this.
I mean, she's an imposing presence when she puts it on, but she's such a sweetheart, and she's so goofy and wonderful, and she's such a nerd that it's once I got to know her, it was, even when she put the thing on, it felt almost like a kid putting on a Halloween costume of Phasma. It was kind of like, it's Gwen, come on. I just wanted to hug her all the time. And so, but no, when she puts it on and gets into action and we're shooting, it's she's a looming presence, man.
Every villain just wants a hug.
It's so true.
And then last but not least, walk us through what's going on here.
So this is you glimpse this set in the trailer a few times. This is Luke kind of in the mouth of this little interior of this set. I'm trying to talk my way around, so I don't say too much to reveal. And you can see Ray's staff on the left. This is a beautiful shot of Mark, I just thought, you know, I basically did the same thing on my last movie on Looper. I have this Leica. These are all film stills. I have this old Leica film camera from the 80s. I just keep on my shoulder during the whole shoot, and I just snap away during the day. And particularly with this movie, I realized, first of all, I was the only person on set who wouldn't get tackled if they were taking pictures. And I also just I was next to the camera the whole time. I had this unique kind of perspective on the whole shoot, so I ended up taking literally thousands of shots during the course of the whole shoot. And I think because of what this is, at some point we'll like put together a book of them or something, because there's a lot of really interesting and really fun shots. And for me, it's also just a scrapbook, just to look back, just to have the memories of. I still go back through, you know, the shots from Looper, and it just makes me happy.
Well, we look forward to seeing these and hopefully thousands and thousands of others.
I apologize in advance.
Either on Instagram or certainly in a book. Well, thank you for being here, Ryan.
This was a real pleasure.
Yeah, we look forward to basically everything since we got nothing.